for being here. Thank you, Dale. Just that perfect song, and of course, you know I love some Cuban salsa. Choir music team, it's such an honor to be supported by all of you, every one of you. Oh, I love you. I keep saying that. I've been saying that like for days and days and weeks, and it's true. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'll cry a little bit later in the talk, okay? I'm going to at least get started here. So, yes, I am Reverend Pam. I've held so close to my heart this community. It's been an honor and a privilege to be part of this community and to serve you, each and every one of you, some that I have formed very close bonds with, and others that I see on Sundays, and those of you online too. I feel your love, and I'm sending you mine always. And so in Reverend Pam tradition, we will start with a story about my kids, okay? So this is my son Boone when he was about 8 years old, and our little dog, Jackie O, who is still with us at age 16, and she's been around here a little bit. Some of you know her. But when she first came into our family, she barked a lot. Oh, and I mean a lot, okay? She barked at the wind. She barked at 3 a.m. She barked all the time. And so there was one day where my son had a friend over from down the street, and they were sitting in Boone's room playing video games like 8-year-olds do, and Jackie just started barking. We don't know what she was barking about, but she just would not stop. And so this friend turns to my son and says, "Your dog is so annoying." But he didn't stop there. He said, "If I had a shotgun, I would shoot her." Shock and horror. Now, I didn't know what happened, but I saw this friend just leave the house with no word, no goodbye, Miss Pam, nothing. He just left. I go in my son's room. My son is just bawling, just tears are flowing. I said, "What happened?" And so he just told me this story of what his friend had said. And he said, "I don't know if I can be friends with him. That's such a terrible thing to say." And he was just crying at the horror and at the feeling he was losing a friend. And I said to him, "Okay, I understand how you're feeling. Do you want to talk to him?" And he said, "No, not right now." I said, "Okay, we'll give it some time." Wouldn't you know, 2 days later, this friend's mother called me. She said, "I am so impressed with your son." Like, wait, what? What's happening here? And she said, yeah, he was walking home from the bus past our house, and the dad just happened to be outside. And our son stopped and talked to this adult on his very own and told him the story of what happened and how sad it had made him. And so that dad said, "Hey, wait a minute, this isn't right. Let's get you two together." And got the two boys together, and they talked. And they remained friends all through high school. They're kind of losing touch now since they've graduated high school, but they were able to mend that friendship, okay? And what this story is about is that my son, in that innocence of a child, called his friends to be a higher version of himself. My son was operating from the heart chakra, connecting to his friend. He saw the face of God in his friend, as I see the face of God in you. And he lived into forgiveness, which is key to living from your heart. And we're going to go into that deeper a little later in this talk. But first, I want to say that my heart is filled with gratitude as I stand before you to deliver this final message in the role as your associate minister. I have really enjoyed serving you and seeing all of the growth from you and growing myself in this community. In every moment, I have felt your love, your trust, and your openness to spirit. So today I'm going to reflect on this theme of heart-centered connection from the viewpoint of the book Anatomy of the Spirit, which we're studying in spirit groups. Because this heart space is the essence of who we are as a spiritual community. Caroline Myss writes about the fourth chakra, the heart chakra, as the energy center where love, compassion, and connection reside. Now, we have a photo from our 12 Powers retreat yesterday. We did a burning bowl ceremony, and we had some drama that resulted in some ash on the carpet. Now, some of us saw a heart shape in it. And I find it symbolic of when we release what no longer serves us, our hearts feel lighter and more open. And it's important to understand this because the heart chakra is that bridge between our earthly existence and our spiritual nature. It's where we transcend the material world and experience unity with the divine, not just within ourselves, but in our relationships and with one another. It's in this heart space that we connect, not through words alone, but through something deeper, this sacred divine energy that flows between us. Truly, beyond time and space, in you, I see God's face. And this phrase is the very foundation of what it means to live from the heart. It means that no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, when I look into your eyes, I see the face of God. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore wrote that the power of love is located behind the heart. Love is the pure essence of being. It binds us together, the whole human family. Love, as Fillmore teaches us, is not an emotion. It's the essence of who we are. It's one of the 12 powers, the indivisible qualities of truth. It's the force that binds us together beyond our differences, beyond time, beyond space. And for you scientists out there, the unified field theory points to harmonizing as one of the qualities of creation, which is similar to, in unity, how we point to love as the harmonizing force that attracts our good to us. Unity's third principle teaches we are co-creating our reality. So what is it that you are attracting? Caroline Myss writes of a term she coined, woundology. She defines it as the use of our wounds as the glue to bind our relationships. She wrote, each of life's challenges is a lesson in some aspect of love. Some aspect of love. How we respond to these challenges is recorded within our cell tissues. We live within the biological consequences of our biographical choices. What she's saying is that our bodies, our physical bodies, reflect our life experiences. And there's many books out there these days about it. If you want to read more, find Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life, or The Body Keeps the Score, or Molecules of Emotion. So my question to you, are you living in your woundology? There's a story about this Hindu philosopher, Ramana Maharshi. He was traveling on a train. He observed a man carrying 2 big overstuffed suitcases. And he remarked, "Young man, you can carry those bags yourself, or you can put them down and let the train carry them for you. So why carry your emotional baggage when you can let go and let God?" So let's take a peek inside our own suitcases. I'll tell you about one aspect of my baggage. I was raised Catholic. I think we got some commonality here with some of you, right? So I had a fear of a judgmental God. And through practicing forgiveness, I now have an appreciation for how that experience shaped me. And one definition that has stayed with me from Catholicism is the definition of heaven as seeing the face of God. And it was something that would be denied to anyone who was not baptized in the Catholic tradition or anyone who died with the mark of sin on their souls. But now, healing through forgiveness, I now recognize that heaven is here and now. It's an experience that I create. And I see the face of God in each and every one of you. So what is your woundology? Maybe it's, oh, my mother died when I was a kid, or I escaped an abusive relationship, or even I can't find a good job. These circumstances are part of your human experience, and the emotions around them are valid. And without healing them, without releasing them, you are holding a blockage to your unlimited good. You're not seeing God's face, and you're not experiencing heaven. Caroline Myss wrote that healing is possible through acts of forgiveness. In the life and teachings of Jesus, forgiveness is a spiritual act of perfection. And it's also a physically healing act. Jesus always first healed his patients' emotional sufferings, releasing the attachment to their wounds. The physical healing then followed naturally. Rev. Juan referenced that a few weeks ago. Get off your mat and walk. So when we release our attachment to our wounds, this enables us to move from the childlike relationship with the divine that lives in our first 3 chakras into one in which we participate with the divine in acting out of the love and compassion from the heart center, the 4th chakra. Jesus said, "It is your Father's great pleasure to give you the kingdom." And before every healing in his presence, he pronounced words of forgiveness. Now, Caroline Myss describes a process for releasing your woundology. She states, more than releasing from blame the people who caused our wounds, forgiveness means releasing the control that the perception of victimhood has over our psyches. Got that? The perception of victimhood. We have to release that. The liberation that forgiveness generates comes in the transition to a higher state of consciousness, not just in theory, but energetically and biologically. And she goes further. It may, in my view, contain the energy that generates miracles themselves. Who likes miracles? Yeah, I'm a fan of miracles, right? And the miracle right here and right now is that through time and space, in you and in you and in you and in you, I see God's face. Now, we have a photo of some babies. This photo is from Massachusetts Memorial Hospital in 1995. These twins were born severely premature. One was close to death. They each weighed 2 pounds. That would fit in the palm of your hand. Now, one twin was putting on a bit of weight, but the other one was crying, just constantly crying, like Jackie's barking. The other twin was constantly crying, and she couldn't get air, much less eat. So that was leaving her gasping. She was blue. Now, this weaker twin was having a particularly bad day, and the nurse in the newborn intensive care unit tried everything to calm her down. She wrapped her in a blanket, she gave her time with her dad, she suctioned out her nose. Nothing was working. So then she decided to act against hospital protocol. The rules were to have the babies in their own incubators, but she took this weak baby and put her in the incubator with her sister. The weaker baby snuggled up, and the stronger sister put her arm around her instinctively. What do you think happened next? The weaker baby stabilized. She stopped crying. She was able to breathe. She was finally able to take in some nutrition. And she improved dramatically over the next weeks in her new, less lonely quarters. Now, can you relate maybe to the weaker twins' feeling of separation? Maybe feeling alone, feeling helpless? I know some of us found unity when we were searching for relief from those feelings. Now, the twins' rescuing hug, as it was named, demonstrates the healing power of love and connection. It's a reminder that you are never alone, for we are all connected in the divine. Through time and space in you, I see God's face. When your heart chakra is open, when you've committed to healing your woundology, you don't just see the world differently, you feel it differently. You feel connected, not only to each other, but to all of creation. This heart chakra, as Caroline Myss teaches, is the center of transformation. It's where you move from self-centeredness to other-centeredness, where you stop seeing others as separate and begin to see them as reflections of the divine. So I'll tell you the story of a community that I visited in Senegal in West Africa a few decades ago. So I was fortunate to have an opportunity to go to Africa. I had a friend who was serving in the Peace Corps in Senegal. And I was a little nervous about traveling there, knowing that I didn't know the language, that they speak Wolof, which is not even a written language at the time. And I was a little nervous about, going and how would I get around? And my friend said, "Oh, it'll be fine. You'll be with me all the time." Well, you know what happens. So her job was to record and support reproductive health of the women in this tribe, which was in a bunch of surrounding villages. And one day, she was to visit a new mother and the newborn. So we get to the hut, and the mother requests a private visit. Now I'm alone. I'm sitting outside this hut, and I tell her, it's okay, really, I'm fine, right? So I'm sitting outside, I'm just kind of reflecting on the amazing experiences that I'd been having there. And I noticed two women come out of their huts, and they're wearing these beautiful, beautiful, colorful native fabrics, and they're carrying these big sticks. So I'm curious, what are they going to do with these big sticks? And I watch them, and they have this kind of a bowl, it's maybe like a pestle, and they start with this rhythmic motion, one and then the other, one and then the other. They're pounding in this bucket. And they notice that I'm watching them. I'm wondering, what are they doing? So now, understand, we don't speak the same language, but we have a connection. They make eye contact. They motion for me to come over. They show me that they're actually pounding this grain. It's a native grain called millet that they have in this part of the world. And how they prepare it is they put it in this kind of pounding bowl, and the women actually pound it into small pieces that can be cooked and digested. So after they show me this rhythmic motion, it's very meditative, one then the other, one then the other. One of them hands me the stick. Okay, so I come over to this bowl and I get into the rhythm. Boom, and then the other, and dun, da dun, da dun, da da, and they're both smiling and they're laughing. Before you know it, people start coming out of their huts. And apparently they're whispering about the white woman pounding millet. So this crowd had gathered at this site, and they were loud. They were cheering me on, and I'm like just really into it. I'm in this meditative space, getting into this repetitive motion, and then I hear the voice of my friend. She's frantic because she comes out of the hut, and I'm not where she left me. She breaks through this crowd and comes in, and she's screaming, "Pam!" and she sees me there, and she's like, oh my God. Who else but Pam would be pounding millet, right? But so this story is really a story of community, how this community just took me in, supported me, accepted me. I felt such a connection in those moments that I shared with those people. And so it is with you, Unity on the Bay. We have experienced this heart connection over this past year. We've prayed together, we've laughed together, we've supported each other through challenges, we've grown together. And in these moments, we're not individuals just coming together. We're one heart, one spirit, one love. And this is the power of community, the power of heart-centered connection. It transcends our personal stories and binds us together in the eternal story of God's love. Unity co-founder Myrtle Fillmore once said, "There is no separation in divine mind. We are all one." And Myrtle's words remind us that in God's eyes, we are never separate. Our hearts beat as one, and it is through this shared heartbeat that we experience the truth of our oneness. So I invite you now, turn to the person next to you and say, "In you, I see God's face." Okay, now turn front and back, person in front and behind you, and I want to hear it louder now. "In you, I see God's face." Beautiful. And so the next time that you look in the mirror, tell yourself, "In you, I see God's face." And so as I prepare to step into a new chapter, I want you to know that the heart connection we have formed will always remain. Beyond time and space, in you, I see God's face. And this stays with me as a reminder that we're always connected, no matter where we are. Our hearts are intertwined, and in that connection, we reflect the face of God to one another. Unity on the Bay has been a place where I have experienced the transformative power of community. Together, we have created a space where love flows freely, where we can be vulnerable, where we can heal, and where we can grow. As you continue on your spiritual journey, I invite you to keep your hearts open, continue to see the face of God in each other, and let love be the guiding force in all that you do. Unity author Eric Butterworth wrote, "You are not here to earn God's love. You are here to reflect it and to radiate it." This is our purpose as a spiritual community, to reflect and radiate God's love, not just in our words, but in our actions, in our relationships, in our daily lives. And I'll close today with this affirmation for you, a prayer for you. May you see the face of God in every person you meet. May you continue to be a community that loves, that heals, that reflects the infinite love of Spirit. And although I will be geographically located across the continent, I know that across time and space, in you, I see God's face. Thank you, Unity on the Bay.